So your 9 to 5 is not the dream. So now what? Here's what really changed when I stopped waiting for things to happen for me and started making things happen for me. We're gonna talk all about it in the coming video. The first step is the identity shift. You have to put yourself out of the employee mindset and into the CEO mindset. And the way to do that is to not only think, I'm doing the work that I'm doing because I know I'm gonna receive a paycheck 2 weeks out of the month or monthly. You need to start thinking, okay, I'm working to receive my paycheck, but I'm also working to see how I can do more to build the brand. That's thinking like a CEO versus thinking just like an employee. They show up, they do the work, and that's that. Then you have a CEO who shows up, they do the work, they also research what's going on around them, so they're competition in a way. And then they also research how can they make things better 6 months from now, 1 year from now, 3 years from now. That way you're always on top of the bar. You're not playing catch up. And so that identity shift of knowing I have to stop thinking or stop limiting myself to just what I know right now and push myself out of my comfort zone so that I can find other ways to sustain and get higher income or be in a higher position. That higher position could be working for yourself, or that higher position could actually be moving up in the company or moving up in a different company, whatever that looks like for you. I speak to the landscape of being a content creator or being an entrepreneur or starting your own business because that's what I've done, but it could be different for you. So take what I'm saying with a grain of salt and apply it to your life the way that you want to see your life grow. I stopped tying my job titles and company names to who I am as a person and started really focusing in on the work. So no matter where I was, no matter what happened, because anything can happen. Like if you're an employee, you're expendable regardless of what people say. Like you could be the most valuable person, but if something goes down with that company, you're kind of going down with it, you know, if you're not your own boss. So if you're looking to be in that landscape, I am talking a little bit heavier towards that. But like I said, apply it to your life where you want it to grow. Don't tie yourself into the titles and positions and names at a company that you're helping build for someone else, but find ways that you can really elevate your skill set and your skill level, honestly, of just like being different than everyone else that does what you can do. What I've noticed is whether you're a fan of it or not, knowing how to implement AI into your day-to-day life is going to get you further ahead of people that don't want anything to do with AI. Fortunately or unfortunately, we're moving into a space where people like efficiency through workflows. So you need to start thinking with what I do right now in my work, or maybe with what I would like to do if I want to make a lateral move or if I want to do something different, what can I do that sets me aside from other people? Say for example, I'll take my job for example. I'm a video editor. I'm able to video edit for different brands. And what I can do with that is know that I can tell a really good story. However, what makes me different is that I can tell that story quicker. I'm going to utilize, streamline, and all the buzzwords in between my workflow so that they can see their product quicker. That way they can get it wherever they need to get it. That's just for a game right there. If the quicker you can make something happen for someone else that's paying you, you're pretty much inexpendable at that point. Not to say that things can't happen, but it is to say that it makes it harder for them to not see the value that you have. So when you're thinking about wanting to build your own landscape, your own business, or just be better in what you do, find ways to shorten the length it takes to get to the result. That identity shift from employee to CEO is really going to change the landscape for you. Step 2, time block. I talked about it in the other video as well, but saying no to distractions that are causing you to do less than what you know you can do is key. If you know I can get these 3 tasks done in 1 hour, but it takes you 6 hours because you wanted to make a snack and you wanted to watch this show and you wanted to work and FaceTime your friends, those are the distractions. You have to find ways to really put yourself into a different headspace where you can say no. From 5 to 7 p.m., that is my time to do the things that I need to do that's going to elevate my workflow, that's going to elevate and put me in a different space with my business, that's going to help me scale my business. Like you have to put yourself in that mindset of being like, I have to have boundaries with myself. If it's easy for you to have boundaries with others, but not with yourself, it's going to be really, really tough to see what you want to see. And I'd rather tell you that now and get the knowledge now than to be years down the road and be like, wow, I wasted all this time and now I'm not super passionate about what I wanted to do in the first place because it feels like it's taking so much longer than it needed to. 1 hour a day is all you need. If time blocking is hard to do in a long period of time, go use the Pomodoro method. I know I'm reiterating some of the steps that I said in the last video, but it's so important that if you do nothing else from the first 2 steps to see your dreams really make some progress, it's identifying that shift and time blocking your work, time blocking your business, time blocking everything that involves the brand you're trying to build. And if 5 to 6 is tough because you get off at 5 and it takes you 30 minutes to commute home and then you're hungry, fine. 7 to 8 p.m., if that's the last hour that you have to make something shake with what you want to see with your brand, use it. But you have to use it smart. So I go on YouTube and I use the Pomodoro method and I type in 25-10. That's a 25-minute work block and a 10-minute rest break. That allows me to use the bathroom, get something to drink. It allows me to just breathe for a second. That could look different for you. There are different types of Pomodoro methods. There's 50-10, there's 15-5. Like there's so many ways that you can work and take a break, but I recommend doing things in sections because it feels less daunting to do the thing that you actually want to do. It's important that in finding those time blocking moments that you also look at how you're spending your week. If your Monday to Friday is super tough and you really have to show up for others, it is really important for you to understand this takes up 80% of my energy and I only have 20% when I go home. What's the 20% I can do? If it's do nothing more than research, find people online that are doing what you'd like to do and creating a folder for it, and then you come back to it on the weekends when you have more time, maybe 2.5 days throughout that weekend where you're able to sit down and say, okay, this is how I'm going to utilize my creative output for what I want to see. That can look like batch recording a bunch of videos that you don't know are going to do well or not, but if you don't record them and set them and schedule them out to see what they do once they're out into the public, you'll never know. There are videos that I've created that have flopped according to me, but to others who are trying to build their own creative page can look like they did great. It's all based on how much work and effort that you really put into the creative output of what you want to see. Now, I would highly caution in not over planning because it's easy to burn out just from the planning of saying you're going to do this, and that you don't actually do the work that you say you really want to do. You know what I mean? It can be easy for us to be like, okay, I'm going to make this checklist and I'm also going to put it in my Google Calendar and I'm also going to make a Notion template for it. The next thing you know, you just have 3 different things of things that you want to do that aren't getting done. Do not fall into the trap of over planning but underperforming. Step 3, make it make sense. The first few paychecks I made outside of my 9 to 5, they were really intentional towards building my business. So when I started out, I was gifted a camera for my birthday, and then over time I bought little trinket things that could help enhance my camera. Then I got really intentional and said, okay, if I'm gonna do this kind of work for these kind of clients, I already have the camera. What's next? Well, I need SD cards because I need to make sure that I don't always have to clear a card just to use the same one. Or if I find myself at a shoot and I can't clear the card because I haven't downloaded the footage, it's just important to have extra resources. Then I invested into a great microphone. Then I invested into decent lighting until I can get good lighting. You know, so it's really having a checklist of things that would help you scale your business and make you more valuable in that sense to clients, where you're like, okay, this is why I charge what I charge, because I offer this. That is what every business does. If you go to every golf store across America, they are going to sell the same things, but sometimes different things are going to be priced even more or even less depending on the customer's experience when they walk in, depending on how much availability that they have in the store. If you go in looking for, say, a black button up so that you can do some golf, but they only service really for kids and maybe they have a small adult section, that's less value. So they might overprice it because 1, it's limited, and 2, it's not their main focus. So you have to think about that too when you're building yourself and building, you know, your brand as a whole. My point is that when you see money outside of your 9 to 5 or invest a percentage of your 9 to 5 money into your business, find ways to really reinvest into yourself until good is good enough. You don't have to have every single equipment piece around the sun or everything for the app or everything for the whatever you want to do. Just the basics that you can really start something with. Budget differently as well. When you're budgeting differently and knowing that you're scaling a business, knowing that you want to see more outside of your 9 to 5, second streams of income, you have to move differently. And that cannot be going out to the bar every single weekend, spending money on drinks. It just can't be. You know, so you have to be really intentional with how and where you spend your money and time with, because if your weekends are your only 2.5 days, I say 2.5 because like Fridays, sometimes like after 3, you might have a little extra time to do some leeway stuff. But like for the most part, if you are not managing your money and managing your time well, and all you leave yourself is the Saturday or Sunday afternoon before the next week starts, you're always going to feel behind. So manage your money and your time well, and understand I will go out once a month until I see a certain dollar amount for my second stream of income, or I will go out once a week until I have saved up, you know, for this piece of equipment. It might not be that big of a jump for you. It might be little jumps because you still want to enjoy life, but be okay okay with not seeing what you want to see immediately if it takes you a little bit longer to get there, because you want to sacrifice not cutting things off and having those boundaries early and kind of getting to it later just to have a social life right now. Step 4, deal with doubt. Welcome the fact that you don't know everything that you want to know about what you want to do yet, but also be open enough to know that people around you, experiences, things that you put yourself in, whether that's courses, YouTube University, free education right here, like on YouTube. Understand that it's going to take time to build everything that you want to see with your brand, with your dream. But the more you know that I don't know everything, and I probably never will, but I accept the challenge of whatever this season of my life is going to teach me, that will help you move forward quicker. So what people in your life are questioning what you're doing or what you're no longer doing because you see that your dream is attainable. You just have to change a couple process things. So what? If you want to be stuck in that set where you know that they're going to be just working towards retirement till they're 70, which mind you is nothing wrong with that. But if you want to see something more than the 9 to 5 you're working, you're going to have to be okay with looking a little crazy to some friends and family until you actually start seeing something shake. What I told myself on days that I felt like quitting was like, if I stop now, it's all for nothing. If I stop now, I can guarantee tell you where I will be when I'm 50. And that's scary because like, I don't want to know I'll be working for someone at 50. I want to know that I at least tried to make a second stream of income, a third stream of income. I tried to be a creative. I tried. Even if it doesn't work out, or even if I go in a different path than I know right now, I tried and I saw something with it. Even if people are talking, even if there are other opportunities or things that could look great, I don't care because I tried. I tried and it put me down a different path. I tried and I saw something new that I would have never expected. At the end of the day, I tried though. And I've talked about this in a few other videos before, but replacing your language. Replace what if it fails with what if it works? Honestly, like the worst thing that could happen is that it fails, but what is the grandest thing that could happen if it doesn't? That's what you got to tell yourself. That's what you got to ask. And it's so much easier to see like why things wouldn't happen the way that they could or should maybe in your head, but it's also beautiful to think about all the possibilities that it could become when you start getting better, when you meet other people that are further along in the journey as you continue your journey. It's endless opportunity. Step 5 is the current reality. For me, I can only speak towards my experience right now. And while I am currently, as to date, recording this video, still in my 9 to 5, but also still building my dream on the back end, freedom for me right now looks like having a really good structured day where I batch record videos. If I know that my week is going to look hectic, or if what you want to do involves getting new clientele, that could look like hanging out at a coffee shop and maybe asking people, coming out of your comfort zone, I'm starting XYZ business. Would you know anyone that's interested in these products or services? You have to put yourself out of your comfort zone. And sometimes that's me saying no to something I wanted to really do, but know that I'm going to reap the benefit of the obedience towards focusing on building this brand. So for you, if you want to be a creative, or if you really just like, it's a milestone, you want to live on your own, you want to, move across the country, but it requires so many steps to doing what you need to do right now, take it, do it. So far, the biggest lesson I've learned, if I've never started, was if you don't start, you already know the answer. Like nothing can change. You know that it's a no because you didn't even have the courage enough to try. You know that it's a failed project because you quit before you even got a chance to really see something move. And understand that your timeline is so different than God's timeline. I'm really close in my faith. If you're new here, for those returning, me and God, we go like this. And what I've learned is that God truly lives outside of time. So what we know 111, oh my gosh, it's 111. What we know 111 to be, he's already 3 or 4 years ahead of where we'll ever be. Like I can't even comprehend it as a human. Like we are spiritual beings living a minor physical experience. So the 90 or 100 years that we prayerfully get is but this big in the passage of time, So while I live to build my brand and live to inspire and just be prayerfully a beacon of light to anyone that clicks on my videos, I also understand that at the end of the day, the goal is to draw as many people to Christ as possible and understand understand like it's a hard life without God. And while a little backstory on me is that I grew up kind of knowing the love of Jesus my whole life, but I didn't really step into what that meant until maybe 2 or 3 years ago. So like up until this whole point of time, I knew that I wasn't alone, but it always felt like it. And then when I really started getting in my word, when I really started listening to gospel music more and hearing the lyrics of those songs and understanding like this kind of plays into my life or my season right now, and just stop honestly like relying on my own understanding, it has really helped me feel so much better about the way that life happens, the pace of how life happens, because it's helped me release my will and trust that God's will always be bigger and better than what I could ever dream up for myself. So whether you're someone who's doubting, who doesn't even deal with faith, whether you're a baby Christian or like someone that is just kind of starting their own journey or has been in it their whole life and can really resonate with what I'm saying, at whatever stage you're at, understand that leaning on your own understanding can make it feel worse when you don't get what you want because you're only relying on your strength. But when you lean on God's strength, when you're down bad, he's gonna find a way to make a mess into a miracle. My pastor has been preaching that for the past couple of weeks, and it has truly stuck with me that like, even though it seems like it's a no, or it seems like it's as bad as it could be, you don't know how good it's about to get. So at the end of it all, don't lean on your understanding and truly know that what goes up has to come down, but it goes right back up again. Life is a roller coaster. And when you dip into the journey of experiencing that ride, the downs don't feel too much like downs. They suck still, but it's not forever. Just like celebrations aren't forever. You're gonna have to build again, and there's gonna be challenges again. So when you know that there's checks and balances to it, it becomes a little bit more achievable and a little bit more joyful. So I hope that gave you a little bit of insight into how to build your 9 to 5 after work. I wanted to talk to more of the mentality part, more of the like soul searching part than the actual physical doing and what you can do. I know I kind of briefly touched on it a little bit, but if this is something you guys want to learn more about, please feel free to leave this emoji in the chat so I know that you like this kind of content, and I'm happy to talk about it for days. So I'll see you guys on the next episode of Party of One Podcast. Peace.